Okay, I finally have enough internet to upload videos, but I don't have editing software, so I'm going to do this on my phone in a little bit of spare time, which, as you can see, I'm doing my makeup. So we'll pretend like this is a get ready with me, and you just get to hear me chat and hear my son chomp and my husband watch a video in the other room, because that's real life. Not sure I will continue doing videos like this because it's not very practical, but for now, let's just go with it. In case, let's do this like a real beauty. Here's my foundation. Even though you can see it perfectly, I'm just gonna put my hand there for no reason, because I'm supposed to, right? So the story with my internet was I've been without internet for like 3 months. We switched companies. The new company came out during a power outage. I think I said all this in one of my other videos. They came out during a power outage and they were like, okay, well, we can install it, but it's not gonna work. You're gonna have somebody else come out to get it to work. But then when he left, he was like, okay, in 2 hours, it should be working when the outage is over. And I was like, that doesn't really make a lot of sense, but okay. So I actually waited until the next day and nothing happened. So I called them and they troubleshot it and they were like, okay, in 2 hours, it'll be working. You okay? Yeah. And needless to say, in 2 hours it wasn't working. And basically this went on and on and on and on for, actually I spent that whole first day trying to get them to just like work on it. And it took getting passwords and setting up accounts and all this stuff. And then I just kept getting the whole, oh, in 2 hours, oh, in 2 hours. So this company had a hold time of like 2 to 3 hours on the phone. And then when you finally got them, they would just walk you through some steps and be like, okay, in 2 hours. Well, I started to learn that the whole 2 hours thing was just their way of getting you off the phone. No, I'm not gonna play my makeup. Get down.
You doing the mama?
Down with the mama. Anyways, it keeps going. They send out texts. Texts are like, okay, yeah, in 2 hours. Yeah, in 2 hours. And they would leave. And of course, never had internet. This whole time, my husband was working out of town. So I'm just kind of calling my husband, getting the information, and dealing with this on my own. And I'm also doing my makeup wrong. Putting on highlighter before I have on concealer. So they send out technicians. They always leave. Well, finally, I get this one technician. And he shows up. This is going to be a story time. Actually, he shows up super late. It's like he was supposed to be there by 11. He showed up at like 7:45. Found it. My toddler had it. Didn't even see him. Sticky fingers. It's gonna take a lot of editing to get this up because he keeps distracting me. What was I even saying? If you want to see my concealer, this is what I use. It is Master Conceal by Face Studio. Actually, who makes this? New York oh, Maybelline. I was like, New York & Company? No, that's a clothing brand. Okay, so, oh yeah, he comes out at like 7:45 or 6, it was 6:45 because I was trying to grill steaks and that was also an epic fail, but we're not going to go into that story. So he gets there and at this point I'm kind of like, wait, is this guy coming to kill us and rob us or, you know, whatever. And so I'm already really suspicious that he's there so late. And while he's there, at one point, I hear him on the phone, and he's on speakerphone with the company trying to repossess his truck. And then he's like, sorry, and he starts talking to me about it. So I start trying to relate to him so that he will feel some sort of bond with me and he won't murder us. Then we order pizza because my steak was terrible. And we get the pizza. I see him eyeing the pizza. He also brought his own Coke in my house, like open can of Coke. And I'm like, please don't spill that. Like I already have a toddler. I don't need people coming in my house like with cans and setting them around where my toddler can get them or you can I don't know. But I just thought that whole thing was weird. Have y'all ever had that where a technician just brings something besides a bottle of water in your house? It was weird. So anyways, I ordered pizza and I see him eyeing my pizza. And I'm like thinking, okay, well, maybe if I feed him, he won't murder us. So I was like, do you want a piece of pizza? And I'm assuming that, you know, they're trained to be like, oh, no, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that. Yeah, no. This guy was like, yeah, I'll take a piece of pizza. So he eats some of my pizza, which, okay, it's not a big deal. Excuse you. Can you go play? Okay. call interrupted my video, and now I have husband taking the toddler. So he eats my pizza, and I'm like, okay, not a big deal. It's one piece of pizza. I'm not that concerned about it. It was just making me more fearful that he was a psychopath that was going to murder us, because I'd never experienced this before. And, you know, when you start getting all these red flags, you're like, am I right about this one? Like, is this where it all ends? Is this how I die? They find me in my... Anyways, we're not going to go too deep into that. Anyways, so I offer him the pizza, he eats it, and then he's still on the phone with this repossession company, but he needs to make phone calls about my internet problem with his supervisor, or not his supervisor, with one of the techs through the tech side of the company. So basically when I call, I talk to like a customer service tech, and then when he calls, he talks to the tech for the techs. I don't really understand it completely, but it's just a different number that he calls. And he needed to call them, so he asks to use my phone. And I'm thinking, oh, this is what it is. He's not gonna murder us, he's gonna steal my phone. So I was like, yeah, sure. Because what do you say? No, don't touch my phone. I'm like, okay, he has an iPhone too. So I don't know why he would steal my iPhone. He already has one, you know, not a big deal. But I'm already a little scared because he's getting his truck repossessed. So I'm like, the man needs money, he wants my phone, but I'm like, whatever, I mean, what am I gonna do? If I tell him no, he might murder me. So I give him my cell phone, and he's talking with the guy for a while, and then he starts going outside with my phone and sitting out in his truck with my phone. So me and my little, you should know, my husband's uncle was actually the, I'm not gonna go into all of it, but he was police, and he taught us a lot of stuff after we were attacked and robbed. And so one of the big tips is to use reflections so that people don't specifically know you're looking at them, so they will act a little bit more normally, but you can see what they're doing. So the way his truck was parked, he was perfectly positioned where his reflection was in my truck, and of course they wear those neon vests, so I could see what he was doing. So if he left, even though I couldn't see his truck parked out on the street because he wasn't in my driveway, I could see him in his truck in the reflection of my truck, so I kept watching him. So anyways, I watched that, and then every time he'd come back inside, I would just be sitting at the table eating my pizza, so he had no idea. But he was there for like till way too late, really. I mean, it was dark outside. I'm thinking, you know, my husband's out of town. It's just me and my sister and my toddler, and this guy's in my house, and he has my cell phone. It was really starting to spook me. Actually, right before he asked for my phone, I was about to text my husband, like, if you don't hear from me, call 911 because this guy murdered us. Well, then he has my phone, so I'm really glad I didn't, because I wouldn't have been able to respond, and he could have looked through my phone to see that I said that, and then he could have got mad and murdered us just out of spite. Anyways, he's there for a long time, and basically, like, he's like wanting IP addresses and all of this weird stuff, and basically he comes to the conclusion that there's nothing they can do and we should just cancel our service with them and go with someone else. And the problem was every time we logged onto our internet, another company would come up as a startup screen. And he was like, did you just move here? I'm like, no, we couldn't figure it out. Anyway, so my husband, all this goes on, nobody can help us. My husband comes home, goes out in the yard and looks. They plugged the wrong service in. So the reason we were getting the setup screen for the other service is because we were plugged in to the other service. Nobody went out there to check. He said that the company's fiber line was coiled up on the ground, just sitting there. Nobody looked. So we had somebody else come out, a supervisor. That guy comes out, basically goes, so what's the problem? I couldn't understand from all the notes because we've been dealing with them for 3 months, and every time they did something, somebody added notes to our file, and so he just couldn't decipher through them because everybody's trying to figure out what's wrong, and they're, you know, making all these weird notes about like IP addresses and rebooting the modem and all this weird stuff that makes no sense. So my husband's like, look, they didn't plug it in. And the guy's like, oh, okay, let me schedule somebody to come out and hook up your service. And my husband's like, wait a minute, you're here. Why aren't you hooking up my service? Oh no, I'm just a fiber guy. I can't do any of that stuff. So then he goes and sits in his car, and another employee from that company pulls up, and they sit and have like an hour conversation in our front yard about what bars they go to. So then come Friday, which was yesterday, we finally got a technician out who plugged everything in. Legally, you can't just go out there and do it yourself, so we couldn't do it. Also, if you're wondering what highlighter I use, I don't know if they make this anymore. I got this clearance at Kroger a really long time ago. So after that technician came out, we finally had service for the first time in 3 months. Really annoying, but we have it now. But the other thing that happened during all of this was my son threw my laptop on the floor and he broke it. We're pretty sure he just like, when it hit, it disconnected the screen, but for some reason it'll only work in safe mode. You can't just connect it to a monitor and get it to play like a normal computer. It stays in safe mode. So nobody that we know has the tools to fix it. So my husband just ordered the tools to open it up and see if he can reconnect the screen and make everything good. We had another computer that we tried to use, but it's not fast enough. So in the meantime, I just discovered this programming suite or programming, whatever you call it, programming, not program. Why do I keep saying programming? That's not even the word I'm looking for. Editing program. That makes more sense. Just discovered this editing program, Adobe Rush, which is really geared towards like social media platforms like YouTube and Instagram and stuff like that. I was really excited about that. This computer can't run it. And only other thing I know how to run is iMovie, but I might be able to run it from my phone with the footage from the computer because it all syncs with iCloud. I'm still waiting to see if that will work. So right now this is just on my phone and I'm hoping I'm going to be able to edit this through Rush. Not that you really care, but I'm just excited about it. Hopefully once I get my computer up and running, I can work it through that program instead of continuing with iMovie. This is my little pure palette that my son also broke like my computer, and it broke again on camera. One thing I do, I love Wet n Wild eyeshadows. And I always like taking a pink, whether it's this light pink, I don't know what palette this is because my sticker is completely worn away, or this bright pink color, and it's not as crazy as you would think it is. This is the Spoiled Brat palette. But anyways, I just take it right here in my brow bone just to make it look like I have some blood flow in my eyelids, like I'm alive and not a zombie mom. So I think I'm pretty much out of things to talk about other than I've really missed YouTube and I don't really know what to film now. I was kind of changing up my style, but now I haven't been on YouTube for 3 months. So I don't know whether to make y'all laugh, make y'all cry, or just bore you about my life, which I guess is what I chose because here we are. Yeah, I think I'm just going to end it right here. Even though I'm not completely done with my makeup, I don't really have much more to say to you guys. But that I miss you. Bye.